Hare Krishna. Am I audible, Prabhus?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So we welcome back all the devotees for our continuation of Bhagavad Gita. We are seeing the series from verse chapter number 7 through 12. And I hope all of you could get time for 2 weeks for your book distribution, a little more. Some of you could attend, I think, GSNS camps also. So we are resuming our classes, 8th chapter onwards. So, 7th chapter. We had 7th chapter seen that knowledge of the absolute, and the current 8th chapter is attaining the supreme. So before that, there's a beautiful prayer in Gita Dhyanam about the glorification of Gita. So it says, Prapanna Jataya Totra Vaitreka Panaye Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya Gitamrita Duhe Namaha. So the verse says, Prapanna Parijata. All of us know that Parijata is the desire fulfilling tree. Krishna is like that, desire fulfilling tree. For whom? For one who has surrendered. Prapanna, for those who have surrendered to him, is also the desire fulfilling tree. To fulfill the desires of his devotees, of those who have surrendered to him. Prapanna Parijata. Then Totra Veitra Kamani. Totra Veitra is, he holds a stick. The famous picture we find. He holds a stick in his hand. Battlefield of Kurukshetra. He became the charioteer of Arjuna. And then one like that. He just horses, taking care of the horses, giving them water, everything he was taking. So with the stick, in one hand he uses the stick. And Jnana Mudraya Krishna. It says that. In another hand, this is called Jnana Mudra. You find this. This is Jnana Mudra, the self-realized, the great souls. You find Gautam Buddha, or you greats. Many of the times you find in the pictures. This is called as Jnana Mudra. So this Jnana Mudraya Krishna. Then Gita Amritam Juhe Nama. See, in one side, it's quite interesting. He's holding a stick. Stick means generally we find those who are take care of animals, or in those days we find that want to go. He's a cowherd people. So one hand he's holding a stick, another side he's giving jnana. Very easily he spoke all this. What Gita, at least like even I have to speak, I have to refer to the senior Vaishnavas who have given these classes. I had to refer to what do you call Prabhupads or Acharyas. And then there is something which clicks, and something with great struggle, difficult to, and that too also not able to satisfy everybody. So that is a presentation even after what Krishna has spoken 5,000 years, whereas he spoke it just like that to Arjuna very swiftly. We saw that that verse which speaks about the glories about Chaturvetu Ekavaktata Shesha Mukhavakya. That verse we saw that. That's the beauty. Then what is he doing? So one hand there is stick, other hand there is Jnana Mudra. Spoke to Arjuna, this Gita Amrita Duhe Namaha. All glories to him. We pay always instance because he is famous known as Gopala. Similarly, he just took out that great transcendental knowledge, the milk of this essence of Bhagavad Gita, of the Upanishads, gave it to Arjuna. The beauty of that. Because it's very inconceivable. In this world, we find that one who's a driver or one who's a charioteer in those days, we don't find somebody of that nature. In children, I don't in your era, but in our era, the parents used to generally say that. What is that? Agar padhai likhai nahi karega, means if you do not take jnana, then you will be sent for gai bhais charane. So that was a general trend in those days. So means if you don't study, if you don't want to have knowledge, then better to do this. Whereas Krishna, you see, he has stick also. Yes, cowherd boy. At the same time, he's speaking to Arjuna, the glorious. So that's the beauty of the Lord. So that's how this glorification of the Gita is clear. Prapanna parijataya totra vetreka Danamudraya Krishnaya Gitamritam Duhe Namaha. So once again, I pay my gratitude to His Grace Kanai Krishna Prabhu, His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, and all the senior Vaishnavas who taught us Bhagavad Gita. And Radheshyam Prabhu, spiritual masters, and Srila Prabhupada, the previous acharyas, was given the essence, was given the commentaries, was helped us to not only know Gita, to live a life with Gita, with a life of Gita. So all glories to, so I, from my core of my heart, I pray your presence unto that lotus feet. So whatever I'm speaking is whatever I have taken the remnants from these personalities who are scholarly, who have great devotion, and was very dear to the Lord. And just trying to present whatever within my capacity. Sky is the limit for bhakti, but I'm trying to present a little bit. And grateful to all of you for tolerating me despite my shortcomings. So now, coming to the 8th chapter, I think Shantanu Prabhu has shared the split. Hopefully all of you have got.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, you got right. So, what do you want me to share? Second. So you have right. All of you are able to see. I'm not able to share.
You should be able to share, Prabhuji.
Okay, so okay. Mhm. Okay, just share the screen itself. Whatever. Yeah. Able to see? You're sharing the WhatsApp screen.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So, okay, this is chapter 8, attaining the supreme. So, or Akshara Brahma Yoga in Sanskrit. And Prabhupada gave us very apt title to this, attaining the supreme. So, in this, the overview goes as follows: 1 to 2 are Arjuna's questions. 3 and 4 verses, Krishna replies to first 6 questions. Arjuna just quickly asks from the previous chapter that we'll see, and then Krishna replies them. Then 5 to 8 is remembrance of Krishna at death, is the answer to the 7th question. So total 7 questions are asked by Arjuna. So 6 questions are replied, and then 5 to 8 is answers the 7th one. And then remembrance of Krishna by Yoga Mishra Bhakta or Yoga Mishra Bhakti, both are okay. 14th and 15th verse will talk about remembrance by Shuddha Bhakti, and 16 through 22 It will talk about remembrance of the Supreme Lord by comparing natures of material and spiritual world. Contrast, basically, contrasting between these two. 23 to 28 will talk about remembrance by Bhakti Yoga is easier than Ashtanga Yoga. The, what do you call it? The traveling of the through different margas, different paths is been described there. So this is how the chapter flows. And 8th. So in essence, you want to say it's simple. Arjuna's questions, Krishna's reply, and Yoga Mishra Bhakti and Shuddha Mitra Bhakti are discussed overall. That's right. That's right. In short terms, if you want to remember it. So let's start. No, sorry. Able to see my screen, right?
Yes, bro.
Yeah, attaining the Supreme. Arjuna Uvacha Kim Tad Brahma Kim Adhyatmam Kim Karma Purushottama Adibhutam cha Kim Proktam Adidevam Kim Uchyate. Yeah. I have to go on to kindly read the translation.
Yes, Raj. Translation. Arjuna inquired, O my lord, O supreme person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me.
Thank you. So the Lord here, Arjuna is questioning, what is Brahma? Kim Brahma? What is Adhyatma? What is what do you call karma? Kim karma? He is asking, and uh, what is called as Adibhuta? Kim prokta Adibhuta? What is called as Adibhuta? And on what is Adideva? So where are these words coming from? Previously we have seen in the end of the previous chapter, the Lord happened to mention these 7 terms. Out of these 6 terms, the 5 terms Arjuna asks in this, and again 2 more terms he will ask in the next verse. So where is it coming from? It is coming from here. We saw that in verse number 29 and 30. He says that about one more Sakami Bhakta. In the previous chapter, we saw there are 4 kinds of Sakami Bhaktas: Artha, Artharthi, Jignasur, and this one, Jara, Marana, Mokshaya. So, Mam Ashrita Yadante. So here he uses the word Te Brahma. He knows, Viduhu means he knows what is Brahma, what is Adhyatma, and what is Karma. And again in the next verse he says, what is Sa? What is he knows Sa? What is Adibhuta? What is Adideva? Or and what is Adi Yajna? And then how should one remember you at a Prayana Kale? So he says that after he says that one who's desiring liberation from this material existence, Krishna says like that, and says that person knows. He just uses the words. He says uses knows Brahma, knows Adhyatma, knows Karma, knows Adi Bhuta, knows Adideva, knows Adiyajna, and knows how to remember this thing. So that is what that is what exactly. So I'm just. So that's what exactly the 7 items Krishna just mentioned. Now you see, in our frame of mind, we see it as a chapter, this chapter and next chapter. But it is a conversation on the battlefield going on. Yes, they have made into chapters. That is, but in a conversation, you find it's not that something has ended and something has started. No, it's a conversation going on. Krishna happened to speak. That person who wants for liberation, he knows these 7 terms. He says. So Arjuna immediately catches these 7 terms and asks, which becomes the 8th chapter beginning. So what is he asking? He's asking these questions. So let's see what is that. What Prabhupada does is he starts answering, although Krishna answers in the 3rd and 4th chapter, 4 verses, Prabhupada starts answering here only in verses. He gives the hints only. That's the beauty of Prabhupada. What Krishna speaks in the end of the Bhagavad Gita. What is that? Uh, uh, that verse where he says that surrender unto me. Okay. So he says, but whereas Krishna, Arjuna, Prabhupada always speaks in his verses. Ultimately, one has to surrender to the Lord. So he keeps on speaking throughout his Gita. That's why they are Bhaktivedanta purports, they are special purports. What is the essence of Krishna? That Prabhupada gives in practically right from the beginning of this. Why? Because somebody opens a book in Kali Yuga, people don't have time. Who will see the essence what Krishna wants to speak? But still, immediately, Prabhupada. Anybody opens any page or any something, if you read, he understands. Oh, okay, the purpose of life is to practice Krishna consciousness, surrender to the Supreme Lord, like that. Okay, I think I'm going to continue reading shaded portion. I'll increase the size maybe. Yeah.
Purport. In this chapter, Lord Krishna answers different questions from Arjuna, beginning with what is Brahman? The Lord also explains karma, fruitive activities, devotional service and yoga principles, and devotional service in its pure form. The Shrimad explains that the supreme absolute truth is known as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. In addition, the living entity, the individual soul, also incorporates to body, soul, and mind. According to the Vedic dictionary, Atma refers to the mind, soul, body, and senses also.
Please read next.
Supreme Lord as Purushottama, Supreme Person, which means that he was putting these questions not simply to a friend, but to the Supreme Person, knowing him to be the supreme authority able to give definitive answers.
So, what is that? Prabhupada gives this nice explanation. In short, he is telling, Prabhupada himself is also saying that this chapter includes questions by Arjuna, beginning with what is the same questions. And devotional service and yoga principle, this mixed devotional service, that yoga mishra kind of thing will come. That's why. And devotional service in its pure form, that is Shuddha Bhakti, what you are seeing. So that will be explained in this verse. Prabhupada, because Atma word is there in the purport, Prabhupada is saying that this word is there. This one, Adhyatma, this word is Prabhupada is saying that. What is that? Kim Brahma or Brahma. Sorry, Kim, he's taking that Atma word from the Brahman aspect. That I will explain in the next verse. So Atma, he's saying that refers to many other things also. Body, mind, soul. Soul is definitely there. And it's many other places, it's intelligence also. So all that. And he's addressing him as Purushottama. Why is addressing him as Purushottama? Because, simple. Because if Krishna were to say to him that, Hare, you are my friend, what do you call? In order to counter that, no, we are not equals. You are the Supreme Lord, Purushottama. So you know everything, whereas I do not know. That's why I'm asking you these questions. That is the meaning of Purushottama. The Acharyas explain like that. So this Adi Bhuta, Adi Deva, Adi Atma, these words are coming. This Adi means one who rules, or one who's over and above. The prefix Adi used, A-D-H-I, Adi is used. This is, we'll see how it is coming. Above, over and above, or in respect, like Arjuna is asking, who's the ruling of this body? Who's the ruling of this, what do you call it, demigods, or who's the ruling of this physical manifestation, that is Adibhuta? Like that, he's asking the question. He's just putting the questions now. So that is there. So these are just questions. One more. Few the questions remaining. Verse 2. Adiyagna katham kotra dehesmin madhusudana prayanakale cha katham jneyosi niyatatmabhi. Okay. Soumya Saurabhu.
Lo- uh, who is the Lord of sacrifice, and how does he live in the body? O Madhusudana, and how can those engaged in devotional service know you at time of death?
These are last two questions. Where is it? Adhiyagna. Who is Adhiyagna? How is he situated in the? This is one question only. How is he situated in the body? O Madhusudana is saying, addressing. O Madhusudana. Why he says that also Prabhupada will explain. And that last question. Okay, how should one remember you? What you call at the time of death? So that is this. So this is simple. Okay. Devi Prasad, can you read purport? Very good.
Yes. Lord of sacrifice may refer either Indra or Vishnu. Vishnu is the chief of the primal demigod, including Brahma and Shiva, and Indra is the chief of the administrative demigods. Both Indra and Vishnu are worshipped by yajna performances. But here Arjuna asks who is actually the Lord of yajna, sacrifice, and how the Lord is residing within the body of living entity. Arjuna addresses the Lord as Madhusudana because Krishna once killed a demon named Madhu. Actually, these questions, which are of nature of doubts, should not have risen in the mind of Arjuna because Arjuna is a Krishna conscious devotee. Therefore, these doubts are like demons. Since Krishna is so expert in killing demons, Arjuna here addresses him as Madhusudana so that Krishna might kill the demoniac doubt that arise in Arjuna's mind. Now
Continue.
the word
Prayanakale.
Prayanakale in this verse is very significant because whatever we do in life will be tested at the time of death. Arjuna is very anxious to know of those who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness. What should be their position at the final moment? At the time of death, all the bodily functions are disrupted and the mind is not in a proper condition. Thus, disturbed by the bodily situation, one may not be able to remember the Supreme Lord. Maharaj Kulasekara, a great devotee, prays, my dear Lord, just now I am quite healthy and it is better than I die immediately so that the swan of my body mind son of my mind can seek entrance at the stem of your lotus feet. The metaphor is used because the swan, a bird of water, takes pleasure in digging into the lotus flowers. Its sporting proclivity is to enter the lotus flower. Maharaj Kulasekara says to the Lord, now my mind is undisturbed and I am quite healthy. If I die immediately, thinking of your lotus feet, then I am sure that my performance of your devotional service will become perfect. But if I have to wait for my natural death, then I do not know what will happen because at that time the bodily functions will be disrupted, my throat will be choked up, and I do not know whether I shall be able to chant your name. Better let me die immediately.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. So here, Prabhupada is just putting this Lord of sacrifice, Ati Yajna, whether it is Indra, whether it is Vishnu, who's that? So, and what is the nature of that Adi Yajna that he's asking? Because Yajna has a form, has a personality, and at the same time, Yajna is a principle. This surely you might have seen in your previous section of the first chapter, in the first six chapters third chapter also, the Yajna concept comes. And then in the second para, we find Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Madhusudana. First verse he addressed as Purushottama. We are not, don't, although you are, we are not equals, you are the Lord and you are Purushottama. And here he uses another address, Madhusudana. Why? Because kill the Madhu. So please, for a devotee, all of us know, the doubts are like demons. One may be externally looking very fit and fine, but internally, if there is hollowness, you find a tree, it looks very beautiful from outside. Sometimes some of the trees, but sometimes the tree is so weak because internally it has been, the termites have eaten it. Similarly, in our Krishna consciousness, one should be both internally very stable, internally very strong, and external practice should be, yes, it's visible. It should be visibly there. Yeah. But out of the both, internal is first, the substance and most important. And out of that, Madhusudan is referred to as, because the demon. Demons are, here as demon is not somebody outside. Here the demon is one's own mind, one's own doubts that are hovering inside. So we all in our practice of Krishna consciousness will have doubts. And the doubts, Prabhupada said, is a sign of intelligence, but there should be doubt. But clarifying the doubt is most important. Having just doubts and living with the doubts is not what you call, it's not good for any practitioner, because that affects one's faith. Because when doubt is there, to practice with complete surrender, complete determination, or with that conviction, it becomes very difficult. That's why he is asking this doubts to be removed immediately. So that, and third, Prabhupada in third para focuses upon the last question, prayan kala samay, because death can come at any time. And Prabhupada focuses upon that famous, he just mentioned the verse that is of Kulashekar Alvar, where Prabhupada himself has also written a book on Maharaja Kulashekars. And I think verse number 33rd, he says that, Krishna tvadiya pada pankaja panjarantam Advaihame vishato manasaraja hamsa prana prayana samaye kapavata pittai kantavarodhana vidho smaranam kutaste. He says that. He said that, O Lord, at this moment, the royal swan, that is that Manasa Rajahamsa, the royal swan of my mind, let it, because I'm young, and let it enter into the lotus stem of your lotus feet. Just, and then there is a comparison given. What is that Rajahamsas? We find that Hamsas, they actually, the lotus is, sometimes you find the Hamsa is there, and then his head is down somehow, and his head is down and he's doing something. Actually, he goes into the front, he has a long neck, so he just surrounds this lotus below, and then takes, some say it's like something he relishes from the lotus, some honey of the lotus from the stems and all those things. So that's how he puts his this thing. So what Kulashekar Alvar is saying is very, very important, very interesting. We generally, nobody has daring to say such kind of statement. He says that I am now young, healthy, and my consciousness is very in a proper state. My body is currently fit. So this is a time. Let me put my consciousness. Basically, it represents one's consciousness. So mind is a part of internal sense. So sure. So he says, let it be surrounded at your lotus feet. Basically, surrender at your lotus feet, because the lotus feet of Krishna is compared to that, the lotus. Why he's saying that? Why? Because at the time of natural death, or in today's uneven, unnatural, anytime, any accident, anything can happen. So I don't know. And particularly, let us say, if I live for a long time, also natural death is Kantavarodhana. So Kantavarodhana. Kantavarodhana means the throat is filled with kapha, vata, pitta. And these are friend. We find that when we have so much cold, that itself, that time, sometimes I heard some devotees say, I'm not able to chant Prabhuji. Why? Because I have so much cold, Prabhuji. My throat is filled. I am not able to. My sound of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not coming. When so cold is there, can you imagine what will be the situation of a person when he is very old? Kapavata Pitta. Actually, so much Pitta keeps on coming. That's why old people you find that they cough so much. So at that time, how do you expect me to remember, O Lord? How do you expect me to remember? Better I leave my body now in this state when I am able to consciously remember you. That's the mood of a devotee. Prayana kala samaya kapavata vitto kanthavarati. Smaranam kutastva. Because the last question, prayana kala samaya, is the question. That's why Prabhupada is elaborating it on the purport, saying that how to remember it, how to remember you at the time of death. So Prabhupada is referring to that verse of Kulashekar Alvar, where he's saying that how so the point for us is how to what do you call, don't think that there will be one day or that is going to come. We'll see there will be one day we will be able to chant, or one day. No. Better now, all of you are at this time actually very young, actually very young. You have your not many response. Some of your students, some of you are just working, not some of you maybe in the family life, but still we are not in a state of so much responsibility, so many things that you cannot concentrate on. And to the degree you concentrate now, tomorrow more responsibilities also will come. You will be able to concentrate at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So please let's not postpone our program of Krishna consciousness in future, because another thing is death can come anytime. That can come anytime. That is another difficulty. So that is why we don't know. It's not today's in previous ages when the dharma was very perfectly followed. Usually a person lives his life of childhood, youthhood, manhood, and then old age, and then die. But in Kali Yuga, that's because of people various karmas, vikarmas, and no proper following of dharma. People die anytime. So that's why here. But if one waits for natural death, then I do not know what will happen, because at that time bodily functions will be disrupted probably. So better let me die immediately. That's what Prabhupada spoken. So these are actually these are the two what you call verses talking about questions of just actually Arjuna is just questioning. Prabhupada is just helping us to elaborate upon this thing. So answer is going to come. So next. So next, third and fourth will be the next section where Krishna will reply first 6 questions. Can anybody say if he's reply first 6 questions, what are those 6 questions that he will reply? Quickly, if you have heard those terms. Anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Raise hands. We'll follow the code of this thing, otherwise multiple. Yes, Devi Prasad Prabhu. What all he will reply? He will reply actually in the same sequence only. So better to say in the sequence. Yes.
First of all, what is Brahman?
Yeah.
What is karma?
Yeah, Adhyatma, actually, second one.
Sorry, yeah. Brahma, Adhyatma, Karma, Adhibhutam, Adhidaivam.
And one more. Adhyagnya. Adhyagnya. Adhyagnya.
Adhyagnya, yes.
So that are the 6. So Krishna will answer it, 3rd and 4th. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhavo Adhyatma Muchyate Bhuta Bhavo Karo Visarga Karma Samnita. Okay. Mandar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Here you go.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and its eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the Self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma or fruitive activities.
Yeah. So Krishna these 6 questions are answered crisp by Krishna. Krishna just answers them. Thak. He does not elaborate upon. Prabhupada gives us more elaboration in the purport, but he just answers them. And the last question is the elaboration for further of the chapter. So that one. So he says that first one, Aksharam Brahma Param. So that we'll see. That means, which is, Prabhupada says that is indestructible Brahma. Brahma. Use this. See, one should remember, this is not Brahma. If you expand A, that is Lord Brahma. Brahma or Brahman, these are same. That is referring to Jiva. Some cases it refers to the Lord. So like that. But more appropriate word is Parabrahma. Parabrahman is a word only to the Lord. It is nowhere to the living entity. Sometimes you find the word Brahma and Brahma or Brahman is also used for the Lord. Sometimes, not always. But Parabrahma is never used for a living entity. That point has to be very clear. Okay, then Swabhava Adhyatma Uchyate, Swabhava, the nature of a living entity, Adhyatma. What is that? What is that Swabhava in his, what you call, eternal consciousness of the living entities? What is that? Is that eternal servant of Krishna. Krishna Nitya Das. That is his actual Swabhava. But currently in the material world, his Swabhava is he lords over to the material existence. He wants to lord over. He wants to become the Lord. He doesn't want to become the servant. So that is it. And Bhuta Bhavat Bharo Karo Visarga. And because he wants to lord over, he performs some activities in this world. And then there is Udbhava Kara. What is that? Bhuta Bhava. Then accordingly, he develops different bodies according to the karma. So that's what it is. Okay. Yes, Mandar Prabhu, please continue the purport wherever I am highlighted.
Brahman is indestructible and eternally existing, and its constitution is not changed at any time. But beyond Brahman, there is Parabrahman. Brahman refers to the living entity, and Parabrahman refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In material consciousness, his nature is to try to be the Lord of matter. But in spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness, his position is to serve the Supreme. When the living entity is in material consciousness, he has to take on various bodies in the material world. That is called karma, or varied creation by the force of material consciousness. In Vedic literature,
Yeah. Thank you. So here Prabhupada in the first this thing, Prabhupada also answers saying that what is Brahman? It is indestructible, eternally existing. That is basically referring to the soul. That is soul, the Jivatma. That is referring to. And here the consciousness of matter. This is referring to the Adi. Adhyatma. Either he can have material consciousness if it is the material world and have spiritual consciousness. And third one, because he is having material consciousness, he develops various material bodies. So that has been Prabhupada answering as karma. Now Prabhupada expands upon these three what do you call it? These three questions which Krishna is replying. So he is replying upon, again, he gives little more expansion upon Brahma or Brahman and Adhyatma and Karma. So here Prabhupada says, in Vedic literature, the living entity is Jivatma and Brahman. So he can be referred to as Jivatma or Brahman, but he's never Parabrahman. This point has to be very clear. Parabrahman can never be, whereas Brahman is a word, it goes in Upanishads and these places you'll find the word is used sometimes. But Parabrahman is never used. That has to be very clear. And then he keeps on explaining about that. And then in the material nature, he is manifesting sometimes as a man, demigod, animal, beast, etc. According to that is karma aspect Prabhupada is explaining. To attain material heavenly planets, enjoy their facilities, and he sometimes performs sacrifice yagna. But when his merit is exhausted, he returns to earth again in the form of a man. That is called as karma. So Prabhupada explains about karma a little bit, the cycle of karma, how does it work? Then he refers to the Chandogya Upanishad in which that aspect is given about how the process of sacrifice goes. Basically that process, this is a complex thing, but still on the sacrificial altar, 5 kinds of offerings are made into 5 kinds of fire. The 5 kinds of fire are conceived as of the heavenly planet, clouds, earth, man and woman. And the 5 kinds of sacrificial offerings are faith, enjoy on the moon, rain, grains and semen. So you may be wondering how semen is an offering, how rain is an offering, how woman is a what do you call fire, how man is the fire. Basically, it is talking about the process of what do you call it? A person earning punya, putting his this thing into the performing the pious activities, and then accordingly getting his elevated to heavenly planets. And how does he come out, come down from the heavenly planets to the, how does he come? He first the, I'll just tell in simple. He has a faith. Faith means here what? Sacrifice of faith means what? He has faith in the scriptures that if I perform this yajna, this I do, it's basically karma kanda. If I perform that thing all, then if I put, then what happened? There is an elevation to the heavenly planets. In the heavenly planets, one gets a body. Here, then one gets a body. Moon in the sense of he gets a body to enjoy in the heavenly planets. After once was punya is completed, one is put down into this material existence in the clouds, and then he comes as rains. And when he comes down as a rain, again he comes. He goes into the earth. Through the earth, he goes into the seed. He goes into the plant. And when the plant is taken by a man, again he becomes one of the fires, like that. Again, then he puts that the living entity which has taken shelter of the semen, he puts into the fire of woman, in this one yoni of the woman, the womb of the woman, and from there again he takes birth. So this is a cycle of karma has been explained. That has been, so in short, that is elaborationally explained in the Chandogya Upanishad, the proper explains. But still, there is little more explanation of it. Yes, Mandar will continue to read this, complete it. Same thing.
In the process of sacrifice, the living entity makes specific sacrifices to attain specific heavenly planets and consequently reaches them. When the merit of sacrifice is exhausted, the living entity descends to earth in the form of rain, then takes on the form of grains, and the grains are eaten by men and transformed into semen, which impregnates a woman, and thus the living entity once again attains the human form to perform sacrifice, and so repeat the same cycle. In this way, the living entity perpetually comes and goes on the material path. The Krishna conscious person, however, avoids such sacrifices. He takes directly to Krishna consciousness and thereby prepares himself to return to Godhead.
Yeah, so Prabhupada gives there. Fine. Next. So next three modes. So three questions have been answered in short. Next, fourth. Adibhutam sharo bhavaha purushascha adidaivatam adiyagnoham mevatra dehe dehabhritam vara. Okay, Shantanu Prabhu.
Yes, Guruji. Translation. O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adhibhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods like those of the sun and moon, is called Adhidaiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the Supersoul in the heart of every embodied being, I am called Adi Yajna, the Lord of Sacrifice.
Yeah. So it is very clear. Adibhuta Sharobhava. It's a temporary changing manifestation of the body. Purusha Shadidevan means a universal form. It's been Ati Yagna is the Vishnu Murti or the super soul who's sitting in everybody's heart. Okay, here continue to read because Prabhupada gives it's self-explanatory, very clear. Okay.
Purport. Physical nature is constantly changing. Material bodies generally pass through six stages. They are born, they grow, they remain for some duration, they produce some byproduct, they dwindle, and they vanish. This physical nature is called Adhibhuta. It is created at a certain point and will be annihilated at a certain point. The conception of the universal form of the Supreme Lord, which includes all the demigods and their different planets, is called Adhideva. And present in the body along with the individual soul is the super soul, plenary representation of Lord Krishna. The super soul is called the Paramatma or Adi Yajna and is situated in the heart. The word Eva is particularly important in the context of this verse because by this word the Lord stresses that the Paramatma is not different from him. Super soul, the supreme personality of Godhead, seated besides the individual soul, is the witness of the individual soul's activities and is the source of the soul's various types of consciousness. The super soul gives the individual soul an opportunity to act freely and witnesses his activities. The functions of all these different manifestations of the Supreme Lord automatically become clarified for the pure Krishna conscious devotee engaged in transcendental service to the Lord.
Ah, so that has been said. So here, this Adi, I said Adi Bhuta, Adi. Who is the ruling of the Bhuta? Bhuta in the sense the material manifestation. The Lord. Who is the Adi? Who's the ruler? Or who's over the Daivatas? Or who's over everything? That is the universal form or the Lord. Indirectly, it is referring to Krishna. So who is the Yajnas? Who is the Adi Yajna? Who rules the Yajna? Who's the overall overseer of the yajna? Who's the main personality? Vishnu, like that. So, like that, Krishna is answering. So, it is referring to Krishna indirectly. And on Adi Yajna, it is referring to him directly as Adi Yajna, as his, what do you call, expansion as the super soul. So, Krishna replies these questions very quickly. There is no elaboration upon that. So, third and fourth represents this. Okay, next fourth. Okay. So now the conclusion of this third and fourth verses, it's like that. See, when we perform sacrifice or when we worship the demigods like Adideva, or when we see the constantly changing material manifestation, we indirectly worship Krishna himself only. If, however, if we worship Krishna as the governing principle behind all these, then we can know him even at the time of death. So that is like indirectly telling, try to understand what is Adibhuta, what is Adideva, what is what do you call, how is this karma cycle, where is the living entity situated, all these things. So he's saying that, and then Ati Yagna. So indirectly understand the governing principle around all this thing is Krishna only. So that's why at the time of death, even at the time of death, what do you call, one can know him, who? Krishna only. So that's why this is giving an indication that how one should remember Krishna only at the time of death. So that's why the seventh question next, Krishna will reply in further 3 verses, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 4 verses he will reply that. What is that? Then what is the result of one who thinks of Krishna at the time of Prayana Kala Samaya? So whom should we remember? You should remember Krishna only. That is what it is going to come. But if you remember somebody else, what will happen? You will go to somewhere else only. So Krishna answers that from 5 to 8. So like that. So we see, at least we'll try to see 5th verse. So this is now answering 5 to 8 is answering the Prayana Kale, whom to remember at the last moment. So this ends that 7th question. Antakale च मामेव स्मरन् मुक्त्वा कलेवरं यः प्रयाति समद्भावं याति नास्तत्र संशयः. Okay. May I request Mrudul Krishna Prabhu to please can you read the translation?
Translation. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attain my nature.
Yeah, yeah, complete.
Of there is no doubt. Of this there is no doubt.
Yeah. So clear, makes it clear. This is Antakale. Antakale. So Mameva, me only. At the time of Smaran, the main point is Smaran. What should do? Smaran. While one's leaving one's body, one should do at the time of leaving one's, what is the Prayana Kala Samaya? Should remember him. What will happen if I remember him? Saprayati, Sad, Mad Bhavam. He will attain the nature. He will not become one with me, attain in nature. Bhava has a word, existence. Bhava has a meaning also, nature. Nature means similar nature to that of the Lord. One attains it. Or in our case, we revive our Krishna consciousness back. That is what it is. Of this, there should not be any doubt, right, that Krishna is saying in version. Okay. Prabhu, please continue to read.
In this verse, the importance of Krishna consciousness is stressed. Anyone who quits his body in Krishna consciousness is at once transferred to the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the purest of pure. Therefore, anyone who is constantly Krishna consciousness is also purest of pure. The word smaran, remembering, is important. Remembrance of Krishna is not possible for impure soul who has not practiced Krishna consciousness in devotional service. Therefore, one should practice Krishna consciousness from the very beginning of life. If one wants to achieve success at the end of life, the process of remembering Krishna is essential. Therefore, one should constantly and incessantly chant the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Chaitanya has one advised that one should be tolerant as tree. Saroropi Saishna. There may be so many impediments for a person who is chanting Hare Krishna. Nonetheless, tolerating all these impediments, one should continue to chant Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Ram
Rama,
Ram.
Hare Hare. So that at the end of one's life, one can have the full benefit of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So the point here, that is referring to the 7th verse. So the question is, how can one know you at the time of death? I've been known at the time of death by the knowledge in the form of remembrance. How to know at the form of in the form of remembrance you can know me, and then you will attain my nature. And then Prabhupada writes this famous, you see, there may be so many impediments for a person in chanting Hare Krishna, or what do you call it, in the practice of one's Krishna consciousness also. Prabhupada is giving you, nonetheless, tolerating all these impediments, one should continue to chant. Basically, one should continue to practice devotional life. Till what point? For us, till eternally, even after one gets a spiritual body, one continues to practice only. At least in this body, what one has to do, the famous verse in Bhagavad Gita in 5th chapter, you all might have seen it. Shaknoti haiva yasodum praksharira vimokshanat kama krodadbhavam vegam sayukta sasukhinara. 5.23, 23. So there it says that sometimes we all become, what do you call, while practicing a Krishna consciousness, always there is this kama, krodha, dhyom, vegan, and there is obstacles from this 6 anarthas and many more anarthas which keep on the path of practicing Krishna consciousness. But Gita, when I heard this verse, that gave me, I was thinking, tolerate, tolerate. What is this tolerate? Till what time I have to tolerate? Then this verse said, Sakanoti eva yasodum. Tolerate. Where? Prak Sharira Vimoksha. Till the time you give up this body, till that time you have to tolerate. Tolerate what? Means what? While you are practicing also on the path, there will be difficulties. There will be what you call obstacles. There is a beautiful verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it comes. Durgame patime andasya skalat patagate mahur swakripaishtidanena santah santah avalambanam. This verse very beautifully says, is that Durgame patime andasya. My path is very difficult for me. For me, the path is very difficult. Durgame patime andasya. Because path is correct, I'm walking, but I'm blind, and it is very difficult for me to walk on. Durgame patimandasya. So the Gate Muhur, he says again and again, my legs are slipping on this path. Means that is what? Because of the obstacles, because of the allurements. So kripayashti danena. I request for the dan. I request dan. So kripayashti. What is that kripayashti? I request. Santa avalambanam. I beg for the stick of the mercy of the great souls, stick of the mercy of the great sadhus as my support on this path, so that I can at least hold to the stick of the mercy and park on this, what do you call, walk on this path. So such a beautiful hope and verses given. That's why Prabhupada is also saying, there may be obstacles, continue chanting Hare Krishna, meaning continue to practice spiritual life according to your capacity, and take the support of the sadhus. But do not leave the stick. Do not leave the practice. That's what it is been mentioning here. So, so if you can just manage to just practice spiritual life till the fag end of our life, irrespective of your ashram, irrespective of your positions in society, anything. Just practice, just stick, just remain in Krishna consciousness till the fag end of this life. Prabhupada was told, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, so many lives we have given to Maya in our service, and we have enjoyed practically in different ways. Just give one life to Krishna. That's what Maharaj did. That's what he has successfully gone back to God. He has done. He has followed, fulfilled, and followed the instructions of the spiritual master. In our lives, we are also given the same message through this pastime of Prabhupada speaking to Bhakti Charu Maharaj that we get to hear. It's very important for us also. How Prabhupada wanted that all of us to remain in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes in the name of management also there may be issues even in our society. But try to see it from a spiritual angle. If you see from the metro angle, there will be deficiencies. And the ultimate, did we come for that? At the same time, did Prabhupada wanted to give that as in Krishna conscious, or he gave Krishna conscious for something else? For ultimate liberation from this material existence, ultimately situated in our constitutional position as servants of Krishna. So that one has to always keep on judging with one's discrimination. There will be differences of opinion, differences of management issues, temple to temple issues. All these things may keep on going. But the core principles, one good thing, all glories to our society, by Prabhupada's mercy, basic principles remain same in the morning program. Same chanting japas, we don't change the mantra, we don't change the process. Many things are very common. The other things are actually in the externals of the management and many other things are there. One has to respect it wherever we are there in order to have harmony in both ways in spiritual life. At the same time, one has to support. But at the same time, one has to understand what is that exactly I was first impressed in coming to ISKCON or coming with what Prabhupada and what Prabhupada is actually delivering us. What is he actually giving to us? So one has to focus and stick to those core principles. When our difficulties come, we have to stick to those things and try to continue with them. So that is what. So one more verse and then we'll stop it. So now the question may be, okay, is it not a rule that all remembers me and attains me? It is not a rule. Krishna is going to say that. Because if you don't, because here in the previous verse, 5th verse is saying that if you remember me, you'll come to me and you should remember me at the time of death. But it's not a rule that everybody has to remember you only at the time of death. And that's how many people don't do also, right? Then what will be their destination? Where will they go? Oh, they will go according to their, or they will attain a nature according to wherever their consciousness or where whomever they remembers at the end point. So that is the next verse. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam jajati yante kalevaram tam tam eveti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Okay. May I request Deepak Sutar Prabhu?
Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail.
Yeah, it's not, Krishna is not saying that everybody will attain mine, whatever state. Yam yam tam tam, whatever, and then similarly that one. Yam yam vapi smaran bhav. Whatever smaran, because previously he focused at the end one has to do my smaran. Now he's saying that whoever smaran you do, that bhavam, that tejantiyante, while leaving the body. Sada tad bhava bhati. And that's how you get that state of, according to the state of remembrance, that destination or that attainment one will have. That is without fail. So that thing we even see in the Bhagavatam verse that famously say that in the Kapila Muni's section, 3rd canto, it's in Karmana devanetena jantur deho papatyate striyaha pravishta udaram punsoreta kanashraya. He said that the Lord is watching, the sun and moon are watching, and through directions, through various, all our karmana, devanetena, by the eyes of the Lord, all activities in this world are been watched, taken note of. Then Jantu. So there the living entity is referred to as Jantu. There the Jantu means, yeah, he is having a body. Deho upapadyate. Then accordingly he will get another body. How? The process is striya pravishta. Accordingly he will be put into the womb of different females in this world by Pumsa, the man or the male counterpart of it. Reta. Through what? So same, through the Reta Kanashraya, to the semen. That's what has been said in Bhagavatam also. And it's actually just also. Sometimes we say, what is, sometimes people feel that it is injustice. No, no, no. Simple. You are expecting a gift in a birthday and somebody gives it, you will become happy. Similarly, you are having so many desires till the last point of one's life. Krishna is just awarding the bird. He's actually giving the gift of whatever one desires. If you are desiring him, he gives a body suitable, which will reciprocate with him. If not, he will give a body to fulfill your desires accordingly. So Krishna is actually perfectly giving whatever is as per one desire. So you'll just see the purport and purport. He is very beautiful. Yeah, may I request Arjun Sarthi to.
The process of changing one's nature at the critical moment of death is here explained. A person who, at the end of his life, quits his body thinking of Krishna attains the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. But it is not true that a person who thinks of something other than Krishna attains the same transcendental state. This is a point we should note very carefully. How can one die in the proper state of mind? Maharaj Bharat, although a great personality, thought of a deer at the end of his life, and so in his next life he was transferred into the body of a deer. Although as a deer he remembered his past activities, he had to accept that animal body. Of course, one's thoughts during the course of one's life accumulate to influence one's thoughts at the moment of death. So, this life creates one's next life. If in one's present life one lives in the mode of goodness and always thinks of Krishna, it is possible for one to remember Krishna at the end of one's life. That will help one be transferred to the transcendental nature of Krishna. If one is transcendentally absorbed in Krishna's service, then his next body will be transcendental, spiritual, not material. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram, Hare
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 Hare.
is the best process for successfully changing one's state of being at the end of one's life.
Yeah. So this Prabhupada gives Bharat Maharaj example. That is a famous story, famous pastime and famous section in, and we even teach to all the devotees in voice Bharat Maharaj's teachings from Bharat Maharaj. And this is called the law, the last thought of at death. Are the subject, actually the last thoughts at death are the subjects of previous thoughts. So what one, because at the last moment suddenly to remember Krishna is not so easy. So the last thoughts is actually depend upon the thoughts that has been previously one has cultivated or previously one has been what do you call it, growing with. His mind becomes controlled by this previous remembrance. That's why tad bhava bhavita. So that will come at that moment. That way, accordingly, he will attain that body. So this is called law of what you call last thought. So Prabhus, it's very important if we can start working at the level of thought. Actually, all that thing happens is later growing. All of us know that. See your thoughts that reaps into further into one's what do you call mind, and that comes into out as habits, that comes as a culture. So actually, at the level of thought, if one can start working, where is my thought going? Where is it exactly? Is my thought initially our maximum thoughts in the beginning of our Krishna consciousness will be always material, because we have just begun it. It's not so easy that complete Krishna thought will come. But as we practice, as we are spending, that's why it's very important for us to spend conscious, thoughtful chanting of the holy name in the morning. Means what? 2 hours we are constantly trying to absorb into Krishna. So that state over a period of time, one grows. One's desires to chant more rounds, one's desire to chant attentively. All these things comes. Because at the law, what is my thought? Your thought is so much of other things that is prominently coming. Surely the distraction of the chanting will also come. Prabhupada is so actually previous verse and this verse, he's focusing upon chanting only, if you see. So, and frankly saying, if you can be conscious with your chanting at a thought level, what am I chanting? Am I hearing the holy name properly? Am I spelling it properly? Am I awake? At least basic things. Forget about complete remembrance of Krishna even during chanting. At least let's not waste our time in chanting. See, please try to understand this statement. Let's not waste the time in chanting. Means your time is already allotted. Krishna is coming as time for 2 hours for all of us. That we are, and he's reciprocating. Let's not waste time in chanting. Means do not become distracted. Do not, because anyway you have to utilize that time for chanting. And if you start doing something else, you are wasting that time which is meant for Krishna. That is the meaning. Do not waste your time in chanting. Better utilize your time in chanting. So different devotees have different ways in the initial stage. What you call putting the what you call. We cannot expect all devotees to wake up again and again and again, once, twice, as a respect or as a matter of. But over a period of time, it's because sometimes we will be alone in our according to our time, place, circumstances. Sometimes we may have to different facilities, different opportunities. We don't know where we'll be. So, but individually, one is supposed to become conscious with one's own chanting the holy name of the Lord. So devotees sometimes they put timer. They know that this minute, this many minutes it takes for me to chant one round consciously. So anything going less means I have slipped it. Anything going more means they become conscious. That means I have slept or my mind got distracted. So that is very good at the beginning stages, at least. And over a period of time, there's only a simple solution for one has to. Then over a period of time, one will become focused. You know that okay, this much time it takes consciously for me to chant. Then that conscious smaran becomes more and more, and it is very important. Otherwise, the sufficient number of distractions are there currently with many things, mobiles or the kind of distractions all around us. So let's try to take care of that and try to remember Krishna more and more. Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here. Just I'll just give a hint. The next, Arjuna, perhaps. So Krishna is telling, right? So Arjuna might be thinking, okay, Krishna is telling me to remember him. That is much better advice than telling me to fight. Like that, Arjuna may think. Krishna, however, clarifies. He clears away this possible misconception. The next two verses, he will tell that. One may think, okay, Arjuna might be thinking, okay, better to just do this. No. So, but this is only at the point of death. But person lives also, right? So, what is supposed to do at while it is a living? That is going to come in the next two verses. So that we'll try to see tomorrow. So I end here. Bhagavad Gita ki Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So now I open for any questions, Prabhus. Yes, Prabhuji. Arjun Sarthi, please.
Okay. In case of Bharat Maharaj pastime, so how do we look at it? Because we often says like Lord is actually not very calculative. I've heard somewhere like if you're not able to perform to the fullest extent of like maybe 100% or whatever, he adds to it because he's being a Bhakta Vatsal and he'll actually take you back. But in case of Bharat Maharaj, we say actually, Bharat Maharaj has left so much behind and he was engrossed in the devotional service. But some incident happened and then he's swayed away by that thought. But then he has to take again another 2 births. Is it just to bring out the another Leela where Raguna and Jada Bharat comes in picture, then they have discourses? So is that how do we look at it? Do we look at it as a Leela perspective, or is it kind of it's a strict rule that because he had something else, he had to go through it?
Yes, true. Thank you. Good question. Good question. In Bharat Maharaj's case, to be frank, is he cannot follow. That's what the Acharya says. Somebody is in the stage of bhava. Do you think he will fall? There's no question of falling. until unless somebody does Mahat Aparat. That's the only condition. But still, we find Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj actually is a special case just to teach this lesson only. That you're, as you said, that your thought, one should have, make sure that's one. How Bharat Maharaj pastime, if you see, it's how one gets distracted even at that level. So the distraction aspect and the focus from Krishna. You see what has happened with Bharat Maharaj? He was there. He was at the level of practically one stage, level of beloved prema. So there's no question of falling actually. But this is only to teach. But you see how he got distracted. How he got distracted, and this last thought became upon the deer. You see, that's the effect. But however, whatever he has practiced of Krishna consciousness, if you see the mercy of the Lord that you see, he has not lost. Even in the deer body, what did he do next in the deer body? As soon as he was born and later, he straight away in the deer body, he went to the sages and practiced one life of Krishna consciousness in the deer's body. So if you see from Krishna's point of view, he did not allow you to, his Krishna consciousness is never lost. So he's merciful in that sense. But at the same time, because yes, there is a, that focus has been, you see, can you imagine? He stopped worshipping focusedly and started focusing the Smaran aspect. You see, in worshipping also, while we do deity worship, now we can directly go into the altar. For all of your knowledge, it takes minimum 15-20 minutes. One has to spiritualize one's body by smarana. There's a process. The pujaris has to sit and do that, the manas puja. That mind has to be set right before he starts addressing the deities. You getting the point? So set right, because you are entering into an altar. Please do not think these are dolls that you have to decorate for by 7:30 or to open it. No. Please do not. Be focused where you are entering, what you are. So that's how value that smarana aspect is there. So through this past and the Bharat Maharaj, the distraction aspect has been surely talked about. That's how the Acharya has explained, and surely he's a very great soul. And ultimately we see through this. So the point is, if we get distracted, so if Bharat Maharaj's case is that, how much is our case? We can think about. It is a lesson. And some of them, the acharyas actually, when we through them only we understand. This is an extreme example, an extreme case for us. Listen, the pure devotees take that role in order to teach lesson to this world. That's what Krishna wants to do. Like Arjuna's case also. Do you think he needs Bhagavad Gita really? No. But all the aspects, what Arjuna is asking questions is, if you see all these questions is, if you carefully read all the questions, you find that these are the questions naturally come for a living entity. Actually. So that's what Krishna he makes the pure devotees in many of the circumstances and many of the pastimes for us to teach the lessons for how one should be careful in one path of practice of Krishna consciousness. Is that all right to you? Thank you. Any more?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Anil Sahu.
Hare Krishna. Bhuji.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Bhuji, for wonderful class, Bhuji. Bhuji, we find out in the last chapter, the Krishna gave the 6 points, and then Arjuna came to this chapter and asking about those 6 points.
7.
Sorry, 7 points. And out of 7, mostly, all will be covered in third, sloka number 3rd only.
Third
Only
and
one is
fourth.
remaining, third and fourth. And
fourth.
then coming to the Pranya Kali. Sorry,
Prayana Kale Samay. Prayana Kale.
Prayana Kali. So last moment, what have to be do? Either attend to me or either go to demigods. And
He
then
didn't say demigods because that
sorry.
you will find, he didn't say whatever consciousness. You say you can come to this world also, right? If your consciousness is of demon, where will you go? To lower species. Bhavam, tad bhavam. You will attain that kind of nature. That's what Krishna is saying. Yes, sir.
So you are telling Pooja that from here, they will discuss that about fighting. That even you have to remember me, still you have to continue to the fighting. So my question is this, Pooja, that just Krishna have give these 6 points to just come to that point that you have to be continue fight, or is there any specific meaning for these 6 points?
No. What is happening is, in the previous chapter, when he's explaining, he talks about I told in the beginning, he talks about one more Sakama Bhakta who Jara Marana Mokshaya. He's desiring that. So he just says after that, Krishna says that this kind of devotee who want to moksha, who want to live from this material world, knows all these things. Like that, Krishna just explains, saying that he knows what is Brahma. That means he knows what is soul. That means he knows what is karma. That means he knows what he call how he's supposed to be eternal servant. Also, he has his swabhava in this material world. He has taken that form. He knows how this material world is a changing, constant changing principle. It is governed background is Krishna is there. He knows what is that Adi Deva, that everything is under. He knows that Adi Yajna, ultimately one perform Yajna, better to perform Yajna, that is directly, that perform Yajna, means to come to the point of towards Krishna. And then when you practice, that's why your answer is going to come in next two verses also. When you practice like that, Antakale, you will be also able to do that Jara Marana Mokshaya.
Guruji, how he becomes Sakam then? He's a pure devotee, na, Guruji? If he following all these things.
You heard previous section of what is Sakam and what is Nishkam. Do you think having liberation desire is Sakam or Nishkam? You tell me that.
Liberation will come in.
Desiring for liberation, even liberation, is it Sakam or Nishkam? Tell me that.
He have desire, I think, it's Sakam Puja.
Tell me.
Sakam Puja.
Now how you are saying? Now you are saying Sakam only.
Well, he have some desire to get something.
So now you are only saying he has desire. I did not ask. You are also answering.
But he's
Then
telling
why
Prime
it is
also,
not pure
Puja.
devotional service? Again, you are asking that question. Tell me
But
that.
he's doing Prime Kali also, no, Puja. He know that last
Okay,
moment
whatever
he
may
will
be.
back to
Even
God.
even a pure devotee dies before Prayana Kale also, he will go back to God. Don't worry. Because as per standard of pure devotional service, what is that pure devotional service? Always remember, whenever we are on the path of pure devotional service. It's not that, I told you previously also, it's not that liberation means only pure. See, one has to become purified. There is a difference. One has to become purified, but one has a desire, right? 5 kind of muktis. Then what will be the meaning of 5 kind of liberation? Somebody has a desire to be in the planet of the Lord along, and somebody has a desire to this, what you call, be with the Lord, form of the Lord. But pure devotional service, one scale high. I don't want to, oh Lord, I don't want anything. Vinamat sevaya. Without seva, I don't want these things also. What will I do? You getting? So pure devotional stands at what? Anya abhilashita shunyam. Even to the level of what that abhilasha of what you call having liberation. If certainly, if Lord gives that, surely. But with seva, I will accept it. Getting? So always refer to that scale of, see, when it for other processes, one who's practicing a mixed devotional service, for them, it may be okay. But not, what do you call, the standard set by the pure devotional service as per our acharyas. Is it clear?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay. So always remember, we should be proud in one sense. Proud not in artificial, proud in sense of understanding what is our path. Our path doesn't compromise anything less short of just pleasing Krishna wherever I am. Wherever I am. And yes, that does not mean that, okay, let me Krishna, let me continue to be in this material world. I mean, if we desire, there is nothing wrong in that. But desire for what? To serve Krishna. That is the main underlying principle. Now, later, when Lord puts here or there, it doesn't matter. Okay? Hare Krishna. Anybody go? Okay. We shall stop here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Thank you, Guruji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you.